This week, we're putting the sideline and sideline social because we've got a true game day queen in the house. Megan's here to spill a little Chiefs tea, share what it's really like working with the team, and give us a peek into Arrowhead life. Thank you so much, Megan, for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
So excited. Well, we're going to jump right into it. We
Okay.
want to talk a little bit about your journey. So, how you came to be with the Chiefs and really what your job is like and what it entails.
Yeah. So I'm originally from New York. When I graduated, I went to Coastal Carolina, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I got my sport management degree down there. Kind of wasn't really sure where I would go with that, but kind of just ran with it. Love sports, love the event world. And that's kind of where I found my niche. And then during my senior year, got a internship with they're now called the United Soccer Coaches Association. They're a coaching membership association, kind of help coaches of all levels. But I was on the event side, so we put together several events throughout the year. Their largest one was their annual convention that they still have throughout or currently they still have it year by year. It's the largest gathering of soccer coaches, so it's pretty cool to get myself like into that, get my feet
Yeah.
wet. And then from there, I got a job with a soccer tournament company in Indianapolis. I was there for about a year. I helped with some marketing stuff and mostly like on the ops side, running the tournaments. And then after a year out there, I moved back to Kansas City, and started just working, bartending, serving, was in the hospitality world most of my life, just kind of in between jobs, looking for my next step in the sport world. After several months of job hunting, as we all know, can be a little difficult. I landed a job with Sporting KC, in their food and beverage hospitality department. I was their staffing coordinator, so that's kind of my first step into like the pro sports world, kind of seeing all that it takes to put on a just one game, let alone a whole season. So with a soccer background, it was pretty fun to be a part of. And with my extensive background in hospitality and food and beverage, I got to learn a lot in that area. And that's where I met my current boss, Caitlin. So after working there for a little over a year, at some point during that time, she left to move to the Chiefs. I say to the red side of Kansas City. And so after a few months of her working over there, she realized she kind of needed some game day help, just kind of like a runner. She was very new to the football side. I wasn't really sure what she needed, but just needed somebody that she could kind of give random tasks to on a game day and just do those things. So I kind of started doing that for her on game days. And then that was in 2019. So they're not the first, but the second Super Bowl year for the Chiefs. So that was pretty exciting to be a part of and just on a
Yeah.
game day base. And then obviously the following year was COVID. So it was kind of tricky, get like maneuvering through those waters. But I kind of just kind of stayed involved on game days, helping with, stuff like that. And as the years gone on, I eventually earned a full-time role. And so now I am the event services manager for the Kansas City Chiefs. So basically, I help oversee all of the game day staff, that are involved with guest services. So all of our ushers, greeters, ADA attendants, any of the game day staff that you might run into that aren't in food and beverage or security, my team kind of oversees and has a hand in. So, kind of a big group to manage and oversee, but it's really fun. So, it's kind of how I've got like the short story of how I got to where I am now. A lot of ups and downs and uncertainties in between, but it all kind of landed me to here with the Kansas City Chiefs, multiple Super Bowl champions. So it's been a pretty wild ride. I feel very grateful because I've been part of the winning years, as a lot of the OG fans like to say. We're a little spoiled because we came on the come up, but it's been a wild ride. And it's changing so much every year. So I'm really excited to see what this season brings. But yeah, that's a
Yeah.
little. long-winded, brief introduction of myself.
No, that's incredible. Like,
Uh,
especially during these years, I can only imagine. Like, that has to be so exciting to be a part of and having so many eyes on you guys because really you are the it team. Like, it is
mhm.
like from a pop culture perspective to a sports perspective, it is like
Yes.
across the board. That is incredible.
100%. Yeah, on and off the field, you
Yeah.
can just feel the excitement from all the fans and just in social media, in the media. Like it's just kind of crazy that people aren't only excited about the team itself and their success, but everything that the team brings, whether it's just them or their friends and loved ones that they bring along for the ride. But it's pretty cool to be a part of.
Yeah, that is incredible.
Yeah.
So tell us a little fun fact. So this can be anything about Arrowhead or maybe something that the fans might not know.
Well, my world kind of revolves around the guest experience and the or the staff experience as well. A lot of people don't realize that we operate a little differently than a lot of teams. A lot of things are in-house for us. So we have about 3,000 staff members on a game day, and about 1,500 of those are just Chiefs employees, not, the contractor workers. But I would say the fun fact about Arrowhead itself would be that we're connected to Kauffman Stadium. Both of the stadiums are connected by a tunnel underground. Only a parking lot really separates us, so it's pretty cool that there's one centralized tunnel, which we call the Central Service Tunnel. But that's where all of the game day staff enter on a game day for both teams, as well as for the Royals. Their teams also enter and exit through that tunnel. So it's kind of a one catch all or one entry for both stadiums, but not a lot of people realize that they're connected at the bottom. And there, when you get to the fork in the road, there's a blue side and a red side. So it's pretty cool, but a little tidbit, I guess, about that most people don't know.
Yeah, that is so cool. And I'm sure that really gives kind of like a sense of culture too, that it's like it's the whole experience that you're
Yes,
kind
for
of going
sure.
into this world. That is so
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, we have a lot of overlap with our staff. A lot of them work over at Kauffman,
Oh, wow.
which I guess I should preface that that's where the Kansas City Royals play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a lot of our staff obviously work for us. They work for the Sporting Kansas City team, the KC Current, which is the women's soccer team, the T-Mobile Center, which is kind of like the concert arena downtown. So there's a small community or a big community of people that work at all these different venues, and it's kind of fun. I always call Kansas City like a big town, small city feel because they really do like rally behind their teams. Everyone's always decked out in KC gear. Doesn't matter what sport it is. Throughout the year, everyone's decked out and for that sport for that season. And they really take pride in being a part of the team and being a part of the excitement. And it just grows every year with the success of the Chiefs. The Royals are doing pretty good right now too. So um, the city is kind of bumping right now, and everyone just gets excited this time of year for sure.
Yeah, that really is the best when you have like multiple teams doing well. Like
Mhm.
it is just like you can just feel like the city comes alive. Like there's such a morale change when all the teams are doing well and it's just
Yeah.
yeah,
And
it's
like
exciting.
coming from New York, I'm from Westchester, which is about 30 miles north of New York City. And obviously we have multiple teams for
Yeah.
all the sports, basically.
Yes.
So it's kind of, I grew up a Yankees, Giants, Rangers, Nets fan when the Nets were when
Yeah.
I started as a Nets fan when they were in Jersey. Now they're the
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nets. But so it's kind of interesting to see how people choose their teams, especially like in an area where there's multiple. And
Yeah.
then so you'll see lots of different teams, like, people are wearing different hats and shirts around the city. And but when you come to Kansas City, it's all Chiefs, all Royals, all Casey Current, like, and it kind of feels like a small town because everyone's cheering for, their team to do really well. So it's pretty exciting. Red Fridays are really big here in Kansas City. That's when everyone gets decked out in red the Friday before a game day, and just showing their support for the Chiefs. And I'll say you'll go into the grocery store, you could be out at the bar, even at the post. Like people will just wear any type of Chiefs gear, red gear, And it just shows that Kansas City just loves their teams. They're very passionate about their sports, and they love the athletes that they cheer for, and the athletes really do pay it forward to the community. So it really cultivates that, that energy and culture that Kansas City is really great for.
Yeah, I love that. It's just it's so unifying. It's like one of those things that truly brings everyone together. And
Hmm.
that's so cool to just, you see someone in red and that's like it's because I've heard of these Red Fridays and that is so cool. I
Yeah,
love that. And I don't really feel like I've heard of that like anywhere else. It's like
right.
every single Friday. That is so cool. I love that.
Yeah, it's really fun.
So now we're going to talk a little bit behind the scenes. So
Okay.
obviously, y'all are hosting 70K plus fans a week. Like I can't even
Hmm.
imagine like all the moving pieces, not to mention one of the biggest pop stars in the world on a regular basis. So like just from a security standpoint to, the logistics to even
Hmm.
the fan experience, how does that all work?
Well, it requires a lot of people, as you can imagine, a lot of moving parts. One thing that I really truly love about the Chiefs is how well we collaborate together. The organization has really made a great work environment for, to allow for collaboration. There's a lot of overlap and a lot of hands and many hands in one pot kind of thing. We all have the same goal, but obviously different ways to get to that goal. And so it does take a lot of working together and communication, which is a huge thing. Um, but it takes a lot of, manpower too. So we do a lot of things in-house, but we also outsource, some of the things that we want to trust the professionals on, So security is outsourced. So that requires a whole nother team to kind of work with. Food and beverage, our concessionaires are amazing. They're the best in the business, so we like leave them up to do it. So a lot of that, just requires communicating with those outside partners. They're considered part of our team, but there's a lot of internal information that we have to, share with them. And then just internally, there's a ton of different departments that are moving interchangeably on game day. So it's, it is kind of hard to navigate, but we just have a lot of meetings on meetings, and then just sharing that information, kind of thinking through the logistics of who this will affect and how it will affect everybody along the way. So a big part of what my job is, and for all of my game day staff, is gathering all the information from all the different internal departments and our partners, because essentially all of our staff, they touch different areas, whether it's on the club level with premium areas and clubs, or the ticket takers at the gates, ushers in their sections. We have different tailgates throughout the stadium, and then just knowing every piece of information on a game day that a fan might need to know, pretty much all of our staff need to know. So it's just a matter of gathering all the information and condensing it all and providing those resources and tools for the staff. So when they do get those questions or have to do something, they're prepared for it. Um, so it just takes an army, really. Like I mentioned before, we have over 3,000 staff members, full-time, part-time contractors that work together that come through. And it's kind of crazy because of the amount of hours that are put into planning these events, versus the amount of hours that are played during the game. The game is about 3 hours, but we spend not only on game day, we're there about for 12 hours, but the weeks and hours leading up to it. It's pretty incredible, the amount of work that goes into it and all the people that have an integral part to it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and I'm sure like, because fans only see like one side of it, so
Hmm.
they have
Yeah,
probably no idea all that isn't, yeah, goes into like making it
exactly.
happen. But one thing that I've always loved is like anytime I go to a game, is just the the morale of the people that work there. Like they don't treat it like this is just another day at the office. It's
Right.
they literally treat you like this could be the only game that you're going to this year. And it's like they know it's an experience and they just,
Yeah.
they're so happy and they're so warming and welcoming. And I just like that. That just always stands out to me because like I feel like a lot of times if you go anywhere else, even like say concerts, it's not that same feeling as when you come to game day. It's just like that feeling. Like it's so
100%.
welcoming. Yeah.
We really pride ourselves on that. We've been called. I forget the term, but basically, especially coming from the East Coast, everyone in the Midwest are very welcoming and
They
very
are.
nice. But when sports are involved, not everybody is that same, jolly and friendly, especially if their team isn't doing that well. But not our staff. It's kind of funny because I'll be there for 4 hours before any of our staff arrive and kind of in the thick of it in the weeds and I'm like in the zone type thing and everyone's just coming in happy and they'll show up 2 hours early just because they want to be at Arrowhead because they just
Wow.
love the Chiefs. They love being there. And like this is, I mean, now that we're growing as an organization, we're having a lot more events than just football, but essentially the football season is 10, maybe 12, 13 games if we're lucky, through the season, including preseason and playoffs. So they're not here that often. So we have to kind of constantly find ways to, keep them engaged or keep them wanting to come back. But we also don't really because they just love the Chiefs. They love being a part of it. Obviously, it's a little easier now because the Chiefs are doing so well. But truly, a lot of our staff members have been working for the Chiefs for 25, 30, 45 years. We've recognized several staff over the last couple of years that have worked for the Chiefs since Arrowhead has been open. So it just kind of shows that they love their Chiefs through even the hardest of times, because I know they haven't always been as successful as they are now, but because they love it and they have so much fun, they kind of radiate that energy off onto the fans. And we get a lot of great feedback from our visiting fans about how welcoming our staff are. And they never, sometimes or a lot of times the Chiefs beat the opposing team, and their opposing fans still reach out to say how great of a time they had. Even though their team lost, they still had a great experience at Arrowhead, and that's our main goal, make sure everyone, enjoys it because it could be the only time that they're ever at Arrowhead. Could be the first time and last time that they're ever in Kansas City. So we really want to make sure we leave that lasting impression and it's a good one. So they talk about us again and hopefully they get the chance they want to come back. So.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense because, yeah, word of mouth is obviously the best thing. And like you said, since they're doing well now, of course, it helps with that. But you're right, that makes such a difference because obviously teams always fluctuate and just having
Mhm.
that. If it's a good game day experience, like honestly, I will say, coming from Colorado, the Colorado Rockies, it's crazy because they can be losing, but like they have one of the highest attendance, and it's part of
Mhm.
it is just that game day experience. It's like it doesn't even
Yeah.
matter how the team is doing. So
Yeah,
it's yeah,
exactly.
it's incredible. That makes such a difference. And really it definitely comes off to the fans because you can always tell, it's one of those things, and especially like you said, with the turnover rate being so low, you can tell when people love their job. Like that makes
Hmm.
such a difference. That's
For sure.
amazing.
For sure.
So, just to kind of like, because obviously I know we could talk about this for hours, but
Yeah.
in terms of the game day versus game day, what that looks like for you, just in kind of like short form, yeah, like kind of what that looks like.
Yeah. Well, basically game days just go by like that. I
Yeah.
mean, they're my longest days for sure of the week, but as soon as enter the stadium, I'm going nonstop. That's anything from just preparing notes and documents for the day to get our captains and supervisors ready to, relay that information to their staff. I help with check-in and staff shuttles and parking and basically all staff logistics. So my pre-game game day is very busy and very hectic. Once the game kind of starts or once gates open, I'm back in the command center, fielding incidents from our staff, code of conduct incidents, or kind of just communicating with our staff, the boots on the ground, and kind of just waiting for things to kind of come up. Um, and so like I say, it goes by really fast, even though we're there all day. And then leading up to games and in between games, it's a lot of daily maintenance, just fielding. We have about 600 staff members under our team that, they're part-time. So whenever they're available to deal with their questions or, basic employment needs, we're kind of at their service during, the non-game weeks, dealing with questions from them, getting information from all of the departments internally and having meetings with them. We do a lot of different trainings virtually and in person, which has been what has been occupying most of our time this summer and off season, I guess. This was kind of our first year to have an off season just because of all the construction going on at Arrowhead in preparations for FIFA next year for the World Cup, which is really exciting. But it's just, uh, it kind of just changes day to day, but a lot of it is just a lot of admin dealing with different departments and getting information, getting ready for the next game. We're constantly trying to improve our processes as well. Um, Being a part of our event operations team, we never really handed anything thinking it's a finished product. Everything is always a working document, always, time for improvement. So whenever we think we're there, we're flipping to the next page to, progress and like improve everything. So it's just a revolving door of, not chaos, but constant stuff. So,
Yeah, that sounds so fun. Like it's like you said, it's like almost like organized chaos. Like
mhm.
that, yeah, that's right up my alley. I love that kind of stuff because it's just it's you have that adrenaline and that's amazing because I never even realized that you all typically work at least like 12-hour days and that's you're right, that is a long day, but like when you're kind of going through that adrenaline, I'm sure
Mhm.
that helps make it go so much faster.
Yeah, I will say once the game starts, that's probably the longest part of the
I
day
could see
for us.
that. Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't get to watch a lot of the game.
Yeah.
I do get to see parts of it, but we definitely hear when big things happen because the crowd will erupt. We are the loudest stadium in the world.
Oh yes.
So it's you could definitely, if you can't hear it, you could definitely feel it from whatever room you're in. So that's when we like, poke our head out or lift our head
Yeah.
up to see the screen, but it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Wow. So now we're going to talk about common misconceptions because I'm sure, everyone has their own idea of what it would be like to work for the Chiefs or in the NFL. What are some common misconceptions you think people might have about like your job or working for the Chiefs?
Um, Probably I get a lot of the same questions when
Yeah.
people find out I work for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a really glamorous job, and I will say there's definitely perks to it, but it's still a job. So,
Yeah.
but probably the biggest misconception is that I work very closely with the players. I get to hang out with them or meet them all the time. Same with Taylor Swift. Um, we're a little separate. When I say little, pretty much. I forget who's excuse me, I forget who said this in one of my first seasons in, one of our big all staff meetings, but it was leading up to one of the Super Bowls that we have attended. And they basically were saying, we've done our job this whole season to, make the best experience possible for the fans and talking about the stadium and getting ready. Like we can only do so much. We don't have much of a hand on the field, but our job is to eliminate distractions for the team so they can perform to their best ability and, kind of make everything else easier and cultivate that good environment for them on game day. And so that's kind of like my mindset with it. And but we are pretty separate and for rightful reasons. When they come in on a normal day, the players are there to practice, get their minds right, get in the zone, I guess. Um, so that is, I guess, a big misconception that everyone thinks, because I work for the Chiefs, I'm in the locker room with them or,
Yeah.
on the practice field. It's not really the case. They do, have provide some opportunities for, some engagement. We'll have like our holiday party and stuff. And whenever you do cross paths with any of the players, they're always super nice and, friendly and they know you're there to help do a job just like they are. It's just a little different. They might be in, basketball shorts and a t-shirt, and you might be in like a suit, but um, it's a welcoming enough environment. But I'm very separated from that world as well, especially with me. I office out of the stadium. The business staff and football ops, they're more closer in the practice facility, but things are a little bit more separate. So.
Very cool. I love that. Yeah, I can definitely see that because I think like anyone that I've ever talked to that like works in the NFL, they're always like, people think I get free tickets all the time. I know that's one of the biggest asks is
Yeah, that's
to get
another
free
one.
tickets. Yeah. And
Yeah,
yeah, all
I
these
try.
perks.
I'm like I have some cheap sunglasses that I could give you, but yeah, it's a little different. And they're a business, so they're not.
Yeah,
And there's just in the Chiefs organization, we have a few hundred. I think we're in the upwards of 300 staff, like full-time business staff members. So, they're still a business. They can't be giving away everything for free. And like
absolutely.
I said, the players, they're normal humans. They don't necessarily need to be bothered by everybody all the time. So I think it's appropriate that things are a little separate and, when the time is right, there can be a little crossover, but we all have a job to do. So
Exactly.
none of us can afford distractions really.
No, that totally makes sense. Like I get it. It's like at the end of the day, everyone is in the business to make money. And yeah, I mean, with that many, like you said, 3,000 employees, like that, yeah, if you were doing favors for each one, like, yeah,
Yeah.
there's no way yeah, that
Yeah.
that would be possible. Okay, so now we're gonna have a little story time. So
Okay.
tell us about a time that at Arrowhead you had literal full body chills. Like you could not either believe, like, I can't believe I get to do this, or just like kind of awestruck in a moment that you couldn't believe that that was happening at that time.
Yeah. Um, I would say probably, well, we've hosted a couple AFC and I feel so I feel crazy for saying, oh, we've had a couple Super Bowl appearances, a couple AFC championships. But the time that the first AFC championship that we were able to host and win, we were like allowed to like run onto the field afterwards and like with the confetti falling. Um, it was kind of surreal because at that point I still was very uncertain of my position there, just like not feeling, I guess, worthy and kind of just looked around. The fans are all still in the stands, and I'm standing there on the grass with my coworkers that we've just went through a crazy long season of ups and downs. It was freezing, but it was kind of crazy to think I'm standing here on the field after an AFC championship. This was my third season with the team, and I just felt like not that I made it, but this was what I thought, like what I imagined myself doing 10, 15 years from then, like not knowing what I was going to be doing, but just to do that so early in my professional career was pretty surreal and kind of made me feel like I almost didn't deserve it. But the amount of hours and sweat and tears that we put in, like it really made it all worth it. And I try to remind myself of that moment every season. I have a little bit of doubt or, those really long weeks. I had one this week that you just kind of doubt yourself and, how things are going. And just when everything is piling up, with the uptick of this season approaching, it's just crazy madness, but it's all worth it. And it's kind of also like what I love about sports and events, the adrenaline rush, and then the, moments of bliss after you've like achieved your goal. And not that winning the AFC Championship was my goal, but like seeing that our whole organization was there together celebrating and that we were a part of that was pretty incredible. Like for them to allow us, the business staff to be down there celebrating with the players was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's incredible. Like I can't even imagine like yeah, being there for that. That's got to be like you said all of that hard work, all of that stress, everything. It's just like all worth it in that
Yeah.
moment just because
Yeah.
it's like those are one of those things you those moments you cannot even pay to have. It's like
Right.
it's just
Exactly.
and now we're going to dive into pop culture a little bit. So obviously the Chiefs have been rising in popularity with Taylor Swift, Travis Kelsey, Patrick Mahomes, obviously all the Super Bowl appearances. How has that impacted your role? Because I know you have so many eyes on you now. How has that been?
Yeah. Well, I mean, social media in general, I think has just, catapulted everything exponentially. And just having that in the back of our minds, anyone can video at any time is definitely something that we're always thinking about. But for just the mere fact of the popularity of the players and Taylor Swift being, a part of the Kansas City Chiefs name, has definitely created more like I wouldn't say more, but definitely more of a buzz, especially on game day. Um, Everyone's asking, "Where's Taylor? Have you seen Taylor? Have you met her? Where are her seats?" Even, my friends, family, they're always asking like, "What's the latest?" If I've seen her, if I've ever met her. Um, and, so again, to the same point with the players earlier, we try to make sure that they're able to enjoy their experience just as much as any other fan. Um, so with that, with the hype around Taylor specifically, we try to make her entrance and exit as minimal as possible. So when she can get into the comfort of her area, she can enjoy the game. So that requires, extra bodies, extra personnel, logistics. A lot of it is, it's a very condensed process, but it's all in the best minds or the best interest of not only her, but the fans that surround the area that she sits in. Obviously, a lot of people have figured out where she normally sits. And so there's a constant group or gathering around that area. So it requires extra staff to kind of patrol that area. So it, doesn't, encroach on her experience, but as well as the people that are sitting in front of or around. So extra ticket checks, making sure people are supposed to be there that belong there. So we don't want to impact those fans' experience any more than it has to be. So that's really our biggest challenge, and so what we're always kind of thinking of first and foremost. But just around the city, I think her presence and just the presence of the players, specifically Travis and Patrick, they really have adopted Kansas City as like their home base or their secondary home at least, and they are very much involved in the community. And um, like I mentioned before, Kansas City fans, they love their teams. They love that the accessibility that they feel to the teams because it is such a small city that there are a lot of opportunities for fans to go out and meet at these community engagements with the players. The players have their own foundations and different businesses that they're building or helping, generate around the city and helping, just generate community. So I think the players, they've done a really great job at making themselves kind of more accessible or feel more accessible to the fans. And I think that's grown the fandom even more because everyone kind of feels like they truly are a part of the Chiefs kingdom. Whether they've met, Patrick at training camp or even just, at a local bar or restaurant. Like it seems like they're very welcoming to everybody, like the love and the fandom. So I think their personalities have just grown that more, even with, Taylor's help. And then just growing, especially the female fandom with sports. Taylor obviously has had a little bit of an impact on that, I would say. But it's
Absolutely.
fun to see that, the worlds kind of collide. People that I know would never even watch or even speak about football are now talking about it a little bit more because there's someone else to kind of talk about, or there's the media gossip going on. So it makes it a little more fun. It's not just talking about plays; it's talking about the off-field stuff. So it's kind of fun. Yeah,
You're right. It really has kind of brought together that pop culture and sports together. And yeah, like you
yeah,
said, all of the Swifties that, and I've noticed that too, is like some teams can be a particular way because of course, when any team gets good, you're going to get some bandwagon fans. But I
mm-hmm.
feel like the Chiefs have been very welcoming in that
Mm-hmm.
sense that it's like, no, you're not a real fan. It's like the
Right.
OGs and like you don't really feel that sense. It's like everybody is welcome. And I
For
love
sure.
that.
And
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely some bandwagon Chiefs fans, whether
Oh,
it's because of
absolutely.
the recent success or
Yes.
because of Taylor. Either way,
Yeah.
we're not willing to let them go. They're going to be, I feel like the Chiefs do a really good job at once we get some fans, they become lifetime fans because they see how great of an organization they are. Even not just football talking, like they do some really incredible things off the field as well. And um, yeah, it's really great to be a part of, and it's kind of like feel good too. So yeah,
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, that actually kind of brings me to my next question, which is how does the team balance kind of that traditional sports culture? Because obviously we know there are so many diehard Kansas City fans, but then you've also got these new modern entertainment demands, and that seems like such a balancing act. So how does
Yeah.
that all balance?
I honestly, I don't know because
Yeah.
it seems like every opportunity that the Chiefs get, we take. Like on and off the field. Just last year with the Hallmark movie, they're
Yeah.
really diving into some unprecedented areas, which I think is incredible. Because I think they see the value in like capturing fans from all different areas. And maybe you're not interested in watching a full football game, which is totally fine, but you're interested in the story behind the Chiefs organization. After watching the Netflix series or any of those things, I think the Chiefs are really trying to shine a light on more of what they have to offer more than just football. The Hunt family are very much involved in a lot of different endeavors, different sports, and I think they're just trying to really, um, yeah, capture all those different avenues and spread the Chiefs kingdom love or lifestyle. I don't even know what to call it, but it's definitely. Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it. Even just trying to plant seeds in all these different countries with all the international games and becoming the world's team. I think it's a really incredible thing and big thing that they're doing, and sky's the limit. And I think it's only going to get bigger in the next few years, next 10 years plus. So yeah,
Yeah, I completely agree. Because, yeah, we see all of these different brands coming out with these game day collections now. It's like every brand I can think of almost now
yeah,
has
for
a game day
sure.
collection, and
I
it's a whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, a lot of it again goes back to the community. The Chiefs really put a lot of, time and effort back into the community with, youth programs and even going back to like my college days and my sport classes. It's clear that growing a fandom really starts with the youth and like, getting those memorable moments that kids can like latch onto and, kind uh of like nostalgic, I guess, feelings. Anything that they can relate back to like a good memory is something that could like grow or improve a like fandom. So they really do try to like instill those values young. They're very much involved in like flag football in the community and growing that sport as well. So kind of again going back to getting more girls involved. Obviously, there's girls don't play like physical tackle football, but the flag football is really growing, and it's really cool to just see all the different avenues kind of boost football, but also just boost like the love for sports really, and like the involvement and engagement. I know sports have done amazing things for me in my life, so I'm really glad that it's continuing and even getting better as the years go on.
No, you're right. And it really does, especially for youth programs. Like sports has such a positive impact.
Mhm.
Like it's amazing to see. Like we see that with so many athletes where they're like, I was headed down a really dark path and
Yeah.
someone introduced me to football and it changed my life. And
Hmm.
so it's just like you think like, oh, it's just a game, but it's so much bigger than that. And that's amazing that they know that that has like those interactions have such an impact
Hmm.
on especially at risk teens or kids. Like that's just
Yeah.
incredible, like making that difference.
It provides a sense of community and family for young kids, but also instills other values of just getting on a routine or having commitment, just all those like fundamental life skills that you can't really teach in the classroom. And especially with how parents are always working, or there's got to be somebody else to help like instill those values. And I think coaches and teams and schools can really impact students doing that. And it's always been the schools that were responsible for doing that. And I think it's really incredible. I know the Chiefs aren't the only ones, that a lot of different teams do those types of things. And I think it's really just helping not only grow the sport or the interest of the sport, but kind of helping build up the future of tomorrow per se. So
Absolutely. So if you were to say like Chiefs culture was a reality show, what would it be called?
Okay. I think I would say off the top of my head, I feel like Keeping Up with the Kingdom,
I
if the
love that.
Kardashians haven't already trademarked Keeping Up with. But I think um, if it was about more of like the behind the scenes and game day ops and stuff like that, and things you might not really, not really necessarily on the field, maybe like the Underground Kingdom or the Kingdom Underground.
I like
So something kind
that.
of, yeah. So those are my two ideas, I
I
think.
love that. I would watch both of those, honestly. Like, I'm such a behind the scenes, like, see how everything works.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. That should be a
I
show.
I feel like Keeping Up with the Kingdom would I could just picture like Chris Jones just, playing pranks on everybody,
Yes.
just being goofy and then like, I don't know, doing like dances in the locker room, just funny stuff.
Yeah.
And then, maybe some banter on the practice field. So I think that would be really fun.
Yeah. I feel like we need to make that happen. That would
Chiefs
be
unmiked or
such a good show.
something. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I love it. That is so good. So now we're going to kind of dive into a little bit of like obviously women working in a sports world. Of course, since we're female-led podcast, have to dive into those questions a little bit. But so yeah, have to ask you, what has been your experience as a woman, specifically in a leadership position in a male-dominated industry like football?
Um, it's been interesting. I mean, also just being still pretty young, it is a little difficult to navigate sometimes. And my first full-time role or first big girl job, when I was working in soccer tournaments, it was definitely very difficult. I was like 22, fresh out of college, and I was kind of running these tournaments, and I would have grown men coaches coming up to, our HQ tent, arguing about scores and kind of demanding to see where my boss is or
Wow.
who is the boss. And then when I would tell them it was me, those situations were a little more were very difficult, I would say. And just, I don't know if it was an age thing or a gender thing, just not really getting that respect off the bat. Um, as I've gotten a little older and just I think I've proven myself in some of my roles now, especially with being with the Chiefs for so long. I don't necessarily feel as much of a gender difference, I guess you'd say. But it is just, I think every female kind of battles with this, whether it's sports or not, just navigating or balancing being, stern and direct, so you are taken seriously, but still being nice and likable. So you're not considered a, a B word. I don't know if I can
Yeah,
say
yeah,
that
no,
right now,
yeah.
but so I think that's the hardest part. And I personally, I really battle myself with whether I want to be liked or if I just need to get the job done type thing. So it's a constant challenge for me or struggle because I do want everyone to like me, but also if you're not doing what I need you to do, then I don't like, So it's a work in progress for sure. But just I think being true to yourself, and I know that sounds cliche, but also like, kind of believing in what you're doing is correct and accurate. And I kind of always question like, how would a man handle this? And if I think he would be direct and stern and straight to the point, then I'm going to be that way. And I don't like to think that way of like how would a man, or I guess it should be more of how would a man be perceived if he were to do this? And like, I don't know. So that's what I kind of try to do. But it is
Yeah.
definitely difficult. I will say, my department and event ops, we have a lot of females. We are taking over.
Love
It
that.
is pretty fun to see. There's like the National Women's and Sports Day that happens every year. I don't even know what day that is, but the Chiefs do a really great job to recognize all of us. But there's a lot of us now, which is great. I
Yeah,
think,
it's
I feel
cool.
like once upon a time there was probably maybe 20 people, but now they do like a big little photo op of all of us, and there's over 100 of us on there at least. So it's kind of fun to see that, we're not really I mean, probably still the minority, but like it doesn't really feel like that anymore. And I feel like we're getting more opportunities. We're being listened to more. We have a seat at the table kind of thing. My vice president, she's a female, so I also really admire that, and I kind of take pride in that. Knowing one, she's a boss, she's really amazing at what she does. But that like, that's possible for me type thing. So um, yeah, I think it really also helps to have a really good organization that cultivates a good open environment, a good work environment where, women can be the boss bee that they are. So
Absolutely, because you're
there's a
right.
lot
The
of them.
organization really makes it.
Mhm.
And I agree that it's like the industry has changed for the
Mhm.
better and within the last 5 to 10 years. And that's just so incredible to hear that. Yeah, just the growing numbers of women
Mhm.
joining. That's amazing.
Yeah, I would say it's not so scary anymore.
Yeah.
I was in college. I was definitely one of a few girls
Yeah.
in my degree. It was recreation and sport management, so it was a lot of males, a lot of the athletes. Um, but I don't know. I felt like power in that also
Yeah.
though. Being one of the minority because it's kind of like, yeah, I am here and I I can get better grades, or I do know what I'm talking about, or so I really kind of did it. I enjoyed my time in college, like towards the end of my time, especially diving into the degree. Um, because they all like, I mean, we had a good relationship amongst us as students, even with the professors, but that was like my first time to be, I had to like prove myself kind of thing. And I felt like, I felt empowerment doing that. So,
Yeah. So, kind of going off of that, I feel that obviously, since more women than ever are watching sports, they're getting into football, I would assume that more women and girls are wanting to break into this industry.
mhm.
So, what piece of advice would you give to those girls and those women trying to break into the sports world?
Um, Go for the heaviest box. I always
Yeah.
say that, especially being in operations. Um, I'm one to like if there's a bunch of boxes that my team have to, pick up, I'll pick up the bit heaviest or I'll pick up two just to kind of prove that I did it. Especially now that I'm kind of pulling away from the hands-on portion of my job and have to kind of delegate more. I really battle with the delegation part of like telling people what to do, and I want to prove that I'm willing to do it. I can do it. I can't do it right now because I have other things. But I think it's impressive when you don't rely on being the girl, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
if there's something that's hard and difficult, go for it, and prove that you can do it, and maybe prove that you can do it better than the next person next to you, whether they're a man or not. But yeah, I think just go for it and just be the boss bee that we're meant to be.
Yeah, I love that. And like you say, like kind of like shooting for the stars, because if the higher you go,
Mhm.
it's better to set your sights
Yeah,
higher, because then where you end up, rather than just like trying to just get your feet wet. You're right. Like
right,
if you're acting like you're not supposed to be there, then people are going to treat you
right.
like, yeah, I feel like they
It's
always
definitely a
give off the
confidence
energy.
thing, which
Absolutely.
again, I struggle with at times, but just gotta fake it. Pretend that you're confident and hopefully you'll trick yourself while you're tricking everybody else.
Yeah, it's fake it till you make it, like you
Yeah.
said. Like, because most of the people, they're not gonna know what you feel at all
No,
unless you're like
yeah,
giving that off. Like
exactly.
yeah, that's amazing. So, what has been like the proudest moment of your career? Like the moment that you're like, I can't believe I did that.
Ooh, I think I will say I think when I got my job at Sporting, because I had worked for so long trying to get a job after I had left my job in Indianapolis. And with all the young professionals that are either in college or right out of college or many years out of college looking for jobs, I understand how hard that grind is. You're sending hundreds of resumes and cover letters for months on end, maybe not even getting a rejection. I that was my biggest thing. I'm like, just tell me I didn't get the job type thing. Like,
Yeah.
but knowing, especially in this industry, you're competing against volume. There's just hundreds and hundreds of people gunning for the same opportunity you are. So it's really hard to find that one little opportunity that you can either get your face seen or just meet somebody. And when I got my job with sporting, it was very entry level. But I was just so I just felt so great because I was like, finally, I got the interview. I killed the interview, got the job, and this is with a pro soccer team, the MLS. Like this is big leagues now.
Mhm.
And um I've had an internship and other experience underneath my belt, but like that was my first thing that I felt proud of on my resume where I'm like, okay, this will help me in the future, hopefully, or I'll at least learn some things that I'll take. And little did I know, I met my now current boss there, and just the relationship that we had, and I guess what she saw in me, because at that point we were in the same department, but kind of separated. But she knew I was a hustler and a go-getter, and she just needed somebody that could just do whatever. Even though I still sometimes have no idea what I'm doing, she trusts me and like knows I'll try to figure it out. But having that moment, it just kind of segued my life until this point right now. So very grateful for that opportunity. It was definitely, it didn't come without its struggles for sure, but um, I think that was when I like realized like, okay, I can make it in this industry because I have a lot of friends that had the same degree as me and went a different route. It is real trying to get the job in sports, and it's not a glamorous journey. The pay isn't always great either, so it's hard to like decide if you want what route to go. If you want to go towards your passion, or are you, thinking about other aspects in your life that are leading you away from it. So I'm very grateful that I was able to kind of just push through and stick with it and get to here. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you said, like just that first big break, like that is like
Hmm.
just that's the moment that kind of like you
Yeah.
said, kind of set up all those other things that ended up happening. But it was like
Right.
for that, that needed to happen for all of these other things to happen. And
Right.
you're so
Exactly.
right. There's so
100%.
many niches that you can go into sports. And you're right. It's not always glamorous. The pay is not always high, but it's like one of those industries you have to really keep at it.
You
Like
have to grind it.
consistency is key. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of people think you just walk in and you're going to get this job handed to you. And it's like, no, that's
No,
not how
no.
it works. It is not
I
like that.
started very game day, worked my way to part-time, then worked my way to like full-time, part-time, then full-time. Like it takes a long time, or sometimes it doesn't. So,
Yeah,
but you never know who you're going to meet along the way or who you're going to impress. So don't be above any job. Like if someone asks you to scrub the floor or do any, like just you don't know who you're scrubbing for. So
that is
I
so
say
true.
do it with the best attitude you can and make it look fun.
Yeah, no, that is so important. You're right, because you never know who you're interacting with. And I think that is so important. Like I've always said that, like
Yeah.
never burn bridges, never, you know, you treat everyone the same because you're right. It could be
Right.
the CEO or it could be, like it just,
Hmm.
and it doesn't matter. It's like, it's a human thing. And
Yeah.
that, like you said, in this industry, it's just like your attitude really is what sets you apart because people want to be around people. And it sounds
Yes,
like the Chiefs
exactly.
organization is like that, that they want
Yeah.
people who like their job, who want to be there. Like that makes so much of a difference.
100%. Just like if like you're building a team culture, like there's a million great athletes out there, but they have to like fit the mold. Same with in business. There's thousands of good applicants, but like if you can impress somebody or have that right personality, like you will make it to wherever you want to go.
I love that. Yeah, that is spot on. Okay, so now we're going to go into a little rapid fire. So
Okay.
this will be just some fun questions, kind of like whatever comes first to mind.
Okay.
Okay, so best halftime performer.
Like Super Bowl?
Yes, Super Bowl.
Okay. Ever, I would say Britney Spears, Aerosmith, and NSYNC
I will
from
never forget that one.
like
Yeah, I loved that one.
2001 or something
Yeah,
like that. I'm a huge Britney Spears fan, huge
me
NSYNC,
too.
love Aerosmith. But on the flip side, best that I've been to a couple Super Bowls now. Um, Rihanna was amazing.
I bet. I can't
Love
imagine being
Rihanna.
like at that one. That was just the
Yes,
yeah, production on it.
she's just
Like,
amazing. And I know a lot of people said her halftime performance wasn't as grand or great as they expected, but you just had to be there.
yeah, no. She was incredible. And not to mention she did that pregnant. Like I would all
Yes,
those
I
critics,
know.
I know,
Yes,
they all those people that are critical, it's like I would love to see you do that. Like
right.
seriously.
Try to do that without having a baby inside you. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay,
Crazy.
so heels or sneakers on game day?
Sneakers, 1,000%.
Abs
I tried wearing heeled boots one year, or actually last season, was the worst decision ever. Too many steps on a game day. Get the cute sneakers, dress it up with a dress. Yeah,
Yeah.
sneakers all day.
Yeah, I can't imagine, especially with those 12-hour days. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is like there's
exactly.
no heels. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then best ultimate game day snack at Arrowhead.
Ooh, crab fries from Chicky and Pete's with their
Ooh,
cheese.
that sounds
Yeah,
so
so
good.
good. They're like French fries tossed in Old Bay seasoning.
Oh,
Their cheese sauce is amazing. That's like I get that almost every single game.
oh, I'm gonna have to try that next time I
Yeah,
go.
it's
I'm
really
like, that
good.
is what I'm getting. And then best game day traditions at Arrowhead.
Ooh, like mine or just in general?
I guess I would say, like, well, let's hear yours, actually. I would love to hear your best game day.
Well, I would say every game day I love to Snapchat. So the entrance that we enter for staff, it's usually lined to like the street with fans. So I usually blast my music with whatever game day hype music and I'll video that. Um, but a great tradition for like our staff that I love, anytime we have a holiday, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, which we have a lot of those now, we always host a pancake breakfast, but hosted by our Chris Cakes friends. So we invite all of our game day staff to come, grab some pancakes before they start their shift. There's a photo booth, music. So that's probably my most favorite because you would think a lot of people are upset about having to work on a holiday, but not our Chiefs employees. They love it. They prefer to spend their holidays with us. So we try to make it a little bit, more fun and more like a family and have
Yeah,
a meal together.
I love that. How about the best pregame superstitions?
Ooh.
Does anyone have any good
Um,
ones?
I'm not a very superstitious person, but
That's
I
good.
do always say this whenever there's doubt that we're going to maybe lose, which I hate the doubt. I'm like, no, we're going to win everything. Or if we do lose, I always say um, that if you beat us during the regular season, we'll come back 10 times harder in the playoffs, which is proven true for several teams. I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to jinx us, but I'm okay with us losing the big ones during the regular season because I know the guys will pull it through when it really matters, especially during the playoffs.
Exactly. And especially like a lot of times it's hard to beat the same team twice. Like it's
That's my
almost better
thing.
to
That's
just
my
yeah,
superstition.
I'm the
Yes.
same way. I'm like, you know what? Let's just have them win when it counts. That's all that matters.
I played soccer in high school and we played teams like twice. And then it was always like the third time. If we had already beaten them twice, I was always very nervous to play them in the playoffs. So
Yeah, no.
I don't
It's
like the
it's
odds.
very hard. It's like a psychological thing, I
Yes,
swear.
for sure.
So if you had one word to describe Arrowhead on game day, what would it be?
Electric.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, those
Just
decibels.
buzzing. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's loud,
literally.
it's vibrating. Like, yeah, you don't only hear it, you feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if Arrowhead had a signature scent, what would it be?
Ooh, barbecue or fireworks smoke from all the touchdowns.
Oh yeah. And I
Because
have to
there's a lot of
say,
those, and yeah, you smell that smoke.
oh yeah. And I have to say, like Kansas City barbecue, hands down the
The
best. I'm
best.
like, I'm sorry, I
The
live in
best.
Texas, but no, like there is nothing on Kansas City
It's
barbecue.
different, but
It is
yeah,
different. Yeah. It
yeah.
is
All the
so good.
different regions of barbecue, they're all great,
They're all
but Kansas
great.
City
Yeah.
is definitely top tier.
Yeah. So let us know where, because I feel like we're all like emotionally invested now. Where can all of the listeners follow along with you?
Well, I'm very active on Snapchat.
Yeah.
And I kind of dabble on Instagram, but I would say like Snapchat. Do I share my handle right now?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I mean, if you'd like.
I have to remind myself what it is. It's Megan3846. So
Perfect.
I fun fact, I created this Snapchat back when I was in college when Snapchat was very new and found, but I haven't
Yeah.
changed it since. But
Yeah.
I'll post a lot of kind of behind the scenes on game day, a lot of my cat and just my extracurriculars like on the weekends and stuff and just doing crazy things. But yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
Okay, so tell us when and where is the next Chiefs game and how can the fans watch it?
The next Chiefs game is in New Jersey at MetLife Stadium against the Giants, and NBC will be broadcasting. You could watch it on Peacock.
That's gonna be a good one. I'm definitely gonna watch that one. Yeah.
I will be there,
I
so we'll
love
be
that.
doing our little site visit.
And
So
you'll
we'll
be
be able,
going home too.
yeah, we'll be able to go see some of our friends. And yeah, I'm really excited to see both
MetLife.
of my favorite teams duke it out.
Yeah, that's so wow. It's like such a full circle moment.
Yeah, it really is. I'm really excited. I have some family friends going to the game as well, so should be a good one.
That'll be so fun.
Yeah.
Well, Megan, thank you so much for getting us the inside scoop. I feel like we're officially honorary members of Chiefs Kingdom now. And for everyone listening, don't forget to follow Sideline Social, the Kansas City Chiefs, and Megan on Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. And we'll see you back on the sidelines for the next one. Thank you, Megan.
Bye. Thank you.
You.